Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Adventure Starts Here podcast. This week, we played The Dark Queen of Mortholme, a short-form experience where you play as the final barrier between the hero and the credits. Also, we very briefly discuss the TGA revealed and hyped shooter, Highguard. Please be aware that this is a full spoiler discussion. We discuss the game in depth, including its narrative. There will also be some light spoilers for Xenogears as well as Fury. Lastly, we were experiencing some connection issues during this discussion which impacted sound quality. I did my best to edit it out, but if anything sounds weirdly cut or interrupted, that was why. With that out of the way, enjoy the episode. So for this week, we played The Dark Queen of Mortholme. Who actually picked this game? Was it just kind of a... You did? What was the reason? Why'd you pick it?
So I picked Highguard because it was a highly anticipated game from the end of... no, for real though. I don't know where I saw this game mentioned. Maybe it showed up on my Steam queue. I don't know. But I saw it somewhere, and I just kind of read the short elevator pitch, which is that it's like a less than hour long game where you're the Dark Souls boss, and it was alleged to have some sort of like writing narrative component to it, and that was really all that I knew, other than I was traveling for work all last week and we needed something short.
Nice backhand.
Yeah. And I'll be curious to get your opinion on it, since I feel like it had some inspiration from Slay the Princess. So, like, the idea of the game is you're playing the Dark Souls boss, right? You're at the top of the tower, you can't leave the room. It's all in, like, the one setting, and you have the hero that's coming up to kill you over and over and over again. But you kill him, but it gets better until things happen. So my question for you guys is, if that was you, if you just had some fucking stranger coming into your home being like, I must slay you over and over and over, and you're in like a, maybe not a time loop, but like it just kept happening and you couldn't break out of it, what would you do? How would you react? Would you be buddy with them, or would you just keep fucking killing him?
I gotta lock the door and keep the key with me, and then that's GG. You can't get in.
What if he brings like one of those police like battering ram things?
It's a magic door.
Yep. I mean, I'm gonna buy a gun this week, so I'm gonna just stay strapped and put one between the eyes every time he walks in.
If then you run out of ammo.
Mm-mm. They make
magic
bullets. Yeah, a magic gun.
I'm just gonna be friends with them. You guys are psychopaths.
I mean, it depends. If I'm the Dark Queen of Mortholme, that dude's just dead over and over again. But if I'm me, why would I kill that guy?
Yeah, agreed. Like if I'm some fucking like Lovecraftian cosmic horror thing, then yeah, I'm fucking eating him every time he walks in the door. If I'm me, I'm just like, yo, you want to hit this weed vape?
Exactly. That's just +1, you know?
And then you kill him after he hits the weed vape because he's weak.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we were talking about in the time loop. In that question we did, like, eventually you get bored of it and you just want to see what his insides look like on his outsides.
Now you're getting it.
All right. Thomas, did you feel like this game had Slay the Princess inspiration? And do you feel like it lived up to it, if so?
I see what you're getting at when you say that. But I think the games have like different motivations. Like Slay the Princess is like an actual thing. This game felt like it was more of just like here's like a little 10-cent like dollar store idea that I'm just gonna explore really quick and really kind of Slay the Spire was like a whole fleshed out like narrative that was kind of like it didn't delve into the meta the same way that this game does. Like this game is just nothing but like a meta discussion on its talking points. I get where you're coming from when you say that. It's just I think that Slay the Princess is like a whole like cohesive, constructed, fleshed out narrative that's like 5 hours long, and this is just like it just poses a couple of questions that it explores, and it's not much more than what it is on its face, I guess, is kind of how I'm thinking about it.
I think instead of our typical should this have been a visual novel, I think this is should this have been one of Ben's ideas, because that's kind of what the game is.
That's what I was about to say. I was about to rephrase that as this. I mean, this is too harsh to say. Should this have been a video game? Which I think it does. But the reality is, like, when I played through this game and thought about like the experience, I imagined myself being a professor at a game dev course, and this is the kind of project that I'd want to see. Like, it's a real,
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of like creative boundaries being pushed, a lot of creative ideas, but and I would grade it like the highest grade possible. It'd be like a great capstone project, but this is like on a storefront, so I can't really think about it the same way.
No, I agree.
I think the value proposition of this game's pretty bad. This definitely should not have cost $5, but like even which feels weird to say, like $5, like still bizarre they charged money for it, I guess.
This is the first time though I could think of where I would say, you know, like basically that coffee analogy. This is the first time where I think the coffee brings more value than this game would.
Damn.
Oh, I think this game had some interesting like discussion points. Like, I don't mind what this game was, but for $5 to basically, I don't know, sit there for like 30 minutes and then think for another 30 minutes is kind of a lot.
I feel like my biggest issue kind of comes down to the first question Ben has in our OneNote, which is just that this game really wasn't all that fun. Like, I can appreciate the like narrative questions that it's asking and like the unique presentation that it has for everything, but actually getting there is just so annoying, which I think kind of goes back to Ben asking why was this a video game? Like, I felt like the video game qualities of this just kind of reduced my experience, and I never really saw the purpose of like putting you in to the position of the big bad. Like, I feel like if I was the hero, I would be getting almost the exact same value. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah. Except it would be like more fun.
To a degree.
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of undermines like the whole point of the game to a degree. Like, I don't really think that this game is supposed to be fun in the way that like fucking like the Legend of Zelda games are supposed to be fun, you know what I mean? I think that it's I think if you approach this game thinking it's going to be fun in like a traditional sense, then you've already kind of like lost the purpose of what the game is in a sense.
Yeah.
But it's got like some engaging elements, and that's basically everything that's not sitting there pressing the 3 buttons.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel about it. Like going back to like imagining if I was like a game dev professor, like I would definitely be loving like all the creative aspects of this game. But like as far as fun factor goes, I know that's subjective, but I feel like it's baked into the game's DNA just to not be fun for literally anyone, and that's because like at the basis of its like game design, like the combat mechanics are based around the enemy reading your inputs, and that's like I don't know if that's ever been fun in the history of video games. Like, no one's ever booted up Street Fighter 2 and was like, oh, I'm going to go enjoy the arcade mode against the hardest difficulty. Like, no one has ever thought those thoughts ever. And this game doesn't, like, brook that trend in any way.
Yeah, the only way that that's fun is when is like trying to figure out how you can manipulate the system so that you can win, right? Like, so like if you do like a crouching punch and then the AI can't figure out how to beat that. And then you're like, oh, I did it. But then that's not like repeatable fun. That was just like a puzzle, basically, of how can I break this AI?
And figuring that out in this game was really boring because all you had to do was spam B 3 times and then press a button and it would get hit pretty much every time. But again, though, like, the purpose of the game is not to be fun. The purpose is like to, at least insofar as I was thinking about it, kind of like deconstruct or even critique the whole like Dark Souls like get good culture, you know what I mean? Where like you are like this static element, unmoving, unwavering, while the other guy is the one that's beating your ass every time it comes in there and like tries to learn from you, right? So the purpose of the game is definitely not to be fun, which is like what I was saying before. In terms of like raw gameplay elements anyway.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that by any means, but I guess the question I'll ask is like, like, what do you get out of being in the position of the immovable big boss rather than like the one that is changing in terms of what the narrative is presenting to you?
Yeah, see, that's probably my core problem with this game is that like I know what it's saying, how it's saying it, what it's trying to say. I just don't really understand what my takeaway is supposed to be.
Yeah, and I feel like the multiple endings doesn't really help with that either. Like I don't know, my first ending, the first ending I got was just like killing the hero over and over and over, and then he stops coming, I think is how it ended. And then I did like just sit there and AFK, and that was a little disappointing. And then I got like get to the end and then let him kill you situation. That one was like okay, but yeah, none of them really felt like I was extracting any actual, like, there is meaning to it. There are valuable words that are being said, but I didn't feel like any of it really like struck home in a meaningful way, even though I am a poop sock gamer with like trying to get better and whatever.
Yeah, I think the issue for me is like there's like a lot of YouTube animators who make content in the style of like what this game's idea is, and like this could have been a YouTube short and like been way more impactful than what this like 20 to 40-minute experience was, depending on how many endings you did.
Yeah, I didn't even bother getting the other endings. I just got like the regular ending, which is he eventually beats you. And then I just Googled what are the other endings. And when I saw like what he had to do to like get them, I was like, I already didn't have fun playing the game the first time. I don't want to reopen the game just so I could stand still and let him beat me over and over again to get the other ending.
Yeah, I did the he beats you one, and then I did the pacifism one, and then I was like, I don't want to go through the whole game and kill him 15 times to get the third
Yeah.
one, so I'm good.
Yeah, and I think that's part of my problem with the idea of like deconstructing the Dark Souls thing, and but also like doing the Slay This Princess thing with multiple endings that you can do is like, if you're gonna do that, at least don't make it super grating to get to that point where I can see the new ending. But like I got the first two endings pretty quickly, but then I wanted to get one more where I like gave up
Yeah.
at the end, and it was just like oddly enough, my score did actually go up when I did that, but it still was not an enjoyable experience.
So I'll run a little bit of defense for this game and I guess sort of posit what my idea of what the takeaway from this game is supposed to be. And that is like, um, first of all, I think this game would have been a lot better if there weren't multiple endings. I think having multiple endings the way they did sort of undermines what I think the message of this game is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think it should have just been literally you fight the hero until he fucking kills you.
Yep.
And that should have been the only outcome from this whole game, because what I think this game is trying to say is that like the point of games like this isn't about like winning or losing the fight. It's about like questioning the power fantasy, and it's asking like, is winning actually heroic if all you're doing is brute forcing it with infinite lives against something that has no ability to learn from you? And there's like there's a little more, but again, like the entire purpose of the game is to just have this kind of subversive message about like I don't even know, like acceptance in a way. Like the only way to get a good emotional resolution isn't to like beat the hero into submission. It's just to accept that you are going to die with some degree of dignity. And that's why I think the game would have been so much better. Which
Yeah, I agree.
Yep, I agree completely.
Singular ending, and then
Yeah.
probably like twice as many interactions, and then maybe even like a third phase that you have or something where it could just like really like build a journey. Because it kind of like two phases felt like not enough. I don't know.
I wrestled with that today because I think I even put a question in there, kind of like in the OneNote. Yeah, it was just, if you were designing this, would you have added more phases slash length, or is it important for something with this concept to keep it tight? That was what I wrote, and I actually I went back and forth a little bit, but ultimately I just kind of settled on the fact that I think it was pretty important for this game to have just basically been what it was, because the gameplay sucks so bad that if I was having to play more of the gameplay, that would not necessarily be a net positive.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it too. Kind of like gave me those off vibes, where it's just like if you give me more of this game, I'm just gonna resent it more. So I'd rather I guess I'm gonna say that I'm actually just glad that it is the way that it is, where it's just like this compact kind of like art project that's real creative and thought provoking and looks real nice and not much else.
Yeah, I think the only element for me where a third phase might have helped would not be extending the game as it is and then you have a third phase. It would be smoothing it out because it feels like there's a very large portion of the like midsection of the narrative where he can kind of read all of your but he can't quite dodge all of them, so you can still kill him without getting to the second phase. And I think that would have been a nice point of the game to have like some sort of like, going with like the Dark Souls example of like your dash attack leaves flames on the ground that'll hurt him if he touches them or some shit like that, where it's not just the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again until you get to the phase 2.
Yeah, I think my issue with the length is kind of like, I think we've talked about this in previous episodes though, but like, and if you want to be able to convey a message like this, you need to like work up the currency with me to like be able to have an impact on like my thoughts. The game isn't long enough to really do that. That's why I think that this is kind of just like a YouTube short, kind of like, oh, that like maybe put a little humor in it, and then it'd be like, oh, that was fun, haha. Versus it's trying to do like a Shadow of the Colossus style thing, but without it being like a 14-hour like crazy journey. It's kind of just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that they could have packed more like emotional punch into the length than they did. Like, I thought the part where like eventually you've killed the hero so many times, and now instead of like snapping to burn him up, she like hugs him and then burns him. But that was like the one part of the whole narrative where I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And other than that, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
everything fell
Like
pretty flat.
I think it's fair to say that's my favorite part of the game, like period. But it also feels a little bit disconnected from the actual dialogue, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah,
I
big
I
time.
just realized something. Like instead of snapping him away, why didn't she just leave his corpse there?
Yeah, that's what I was. I wish that was
Oh, that
like a
would've been
secret
cool.
ending, because I think that would be like a cool secret ending kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually tried leaving it there for like a few minutes just to see if anything would happen. And yeah, obviously, if it actually wanted to deliver that sort of emotional punch, which it seems like it does. I mean, like
Oh
it's
yeah,
certainly trying to. Um, but I don't know. I think there's not enough words in the script, and there's
yeah,
not really enough like exploration of the actual emotions or vibes of what's going on. Like it's again, it's just a deconstruction of the power fantasy, and if you're gonna do that in 20 minutes, then you're gonna have to figure out how to get an emotional punch out of that too. I mean, this
yeah.
game just didn't put enough. I don't know. It didn't put enough something into the script, but I don't. I can't put my finger on what that something is, but it was something.
It's just not enough time, I think, is the easiest way to boil it down. Like, there's not
Yeah.
enough time to build up the currency with the player to give them that punch, right? Like, we don't know anything about the queen or anything. We don't know about she could have been like the light princess of, I don't know, something else. And then, like, her shit went dark. Like, there's a lot of things that you could have done via, like, just character building and building up that emotional tie or something, like the hug and stuff, and, like, kind of figure out how to work that into her narrative. But it's just kind of, it's basically just like a idea. Like, like, it'd be cool if you were
And
the Dark Souls boss, and that's it.
like the thing that's kind of bugging me about that too is that I think there is enough time to at least try to do that. And at some points it almost felt like it was tried to do that because the hero makes comments like, oh yeah, I found this bow behind the waterfall, like on the
Yeah,
alcove on the western end of the castle. And it's like you're putting all these things of the hero doing things outside of like this room where you could like try to fit some emotional punches like, oh, I stole this off of your favorite guard,
yeah.
and then there would be like something there, but it just isn't.
Yeah,
Or
I think to some degree, now that I'm sitting here kind of reflecting on it, I think it may be kind of an issue with the pacing because it didn't really feel like the game was trying to reach like those kind of emotionally elevated points until it was too late. Like
Mhm.
75, 80%, if not a little more than that, the way through the like experience. And I think if they had started it more around the like 40 or 50% mark, they could have done a lot more. But you don't really get the queen like sort of trying to wrestle with her fucking like imminent mortality or developing some sort of what's the word I'm looking for, like rapport with the hero until by that point the game's basically over.
Yeah, fully agreed. What do you guys think this game would look like if it was made by a AAA studio? I like this question.
I think a better question is, could a AAA studio even make this game, and what would that look like?
You mean like exactly like the scope that this was trying to achieve, or just something in the same theme?
No, I think when I wrote this question, I was thinking of it being kind of like blown up in scope because like no AAA company is going to charge someone $60 for a 30-minute game.
Okay, so that means you're not stuck being the villain
Right.
in one room. It could just
I
be a
mean, you
whole
might
game.
be, but it might be like a 16-hour like flashback involved
Okay,
thing. Like,
because I
so
was.
think of it like that.
This is probably like this probably goes beyond the scope of that question. But I was thinking of something like Theory, right, where it's kind of like that, right, where you're kind of the bad dude.
Yeah.
You say
So maybe
theory?
that's not really the same thing because
Theory.
that game actually has like multiple levels and shit and actual
Yeah.
gameplay.
Well, I think you're kind of on the money though. I don't know if I would necessarily call that Studio AAA, but it is the kind of thing where like the ending bit that you're describing, where it's like you just kill the basically helpless quote unquote boss. I wouldn't be surprised if they built a lot of the game around that moment for sure.
Yeah, I think the closest thing to what we would have seen a game like this made by a AAA studio is Shadow of the Colossus. I think that's kind of like the style of this game.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good pull.
I do want to say I think that a game or like if something like the encounter with the Dark Queen of Mortholme was in like a Souls game, or maybe not specifically Souls, but something where it's like hard bosses that are like tough to kill, but there's like actual dialogue between the characters. I think having a boss like that in that type of game would be pretty cool, where it's like doing the Sans from Undertale of like referencing the
Yeah.
fact that you've been here multiple times, and you could have like cool narrative beats with that, I think.
Yeah, I think this idea would work really well if in like a bigger normal game, and then there was just like some kind of like outside time boss that would basically be this encounter. Like, I think that that's when that would be like a really impactful thing. But that wouldn't be like the whole not the whole central theme of the game is this one idea.
Yeah, I can get behind that because I think a game like Tyranny sort of explores some ideas
Yeah.
similar to this game, but there's like a ridiculous amount more game to it. So I think that's kind of like when you said that, my mind immediately went to Tyranny.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ben's right where this is kind of like a student project kind of game. It shouldn't really be like a storefront kind of game.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing like I've kind of been thinking as you guys have been talking, where like to be clear, like my score on this game is going to be negative, but I don't want it to be. Like I like the idea of what this game is doing. So it's the kind of thing where I feel like if a student like presented this game as like part of their job application to some bigger studio, I think that it would be like totally fair to hire them based off of that. You
Yeah.
know, like
Oh yeah,
this is a great idea. Let's give you some more money and make something cool with it.
Oh yeah, this is a fucking badass like
Like a portfolio piece.
project. Yeah.
easily. And even like a student project, like Ben said, like I think this would be like an A for like even if it was like your like a dissertation or something like that. If it was based around this game, I think that would
Yeah.
still be like a really really good thing. I just think as a commercial product,
Totally.
it's not. And a commercial product in 2025, it's not there.
Yeah, I think I would have like a weirdly higher rating for this game if I didn't have to pay $5 for it. Like if it was
Oh,
just
yeah.
like a free little
Absolutely.
like art project, like hey, come look at this painting I made sort of deal. I think I would evaluate it a little bit differently because like I do actually have like fairly positive feelings on this game. I'm not gonna rate it super high, but I think that this game carves out a space that I want more games to occupy that have a little more meat on it, you know?
I think the grandest compliment that I can give this game is that if it was released on congregate.com, it would be the top
Yeah.
rated action/adventure game.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's the like the niche that it fits in, right? Like just
No,
those old school
well,
new ground
yeah,
idea
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
games.
I guess just to give them credit and to like to give them the ability to like kind of monetize the game. Like I imagine this being really, really good on itch.io, where you can set it to like pay whatever you want, but you
Yeah.
could also just download it for free.
I believe it is an itch game. Like
Yeah.
I think it started out on itch because I found myself on the itch page, and I know like the Steam version, it says on the itch page like added controller support and something else.
Uh,
And I mean, like, obviously some degree of effort went into this because like the art assets are really fucking good. Which I
Yeah.
mean, if you're just staring at like one static camera angle, they kind of better be. But um, the pixel art is good. The music is pretty good. They translated this thing into like 18 fucking languages. So like they
Oh,
obviously
wow.
invested some like time and money into this thing. So I don't blame them for like wanting to get some ROI on that. But at the
Yeah.
same time, you know.
I will say, like, in general, I mean, just echoing what you said, a lot of the production of this game is surprisingly good. Meaning, like what you were saying with the music, the pixel art, like even just look
Yeah.
at like the title splash screen, like that looks fucking beautiful.
Those
to
are
be
the best
honest.
parts. All the still images that were made for this game, like on the store page, there's a sick ass fucking picture of like the Dark Queen and the protagonist. Like the art is super sick.
Yeah, that's why I'm like hesitant to like say this game sucked or like rate it really low because like the craftsmanship is self-evidently there. It's just like they made something like very intentional, and it's just like it's weird, right? Because I have this sort of like ambivalent take on it where I wish the game had more, but at the same time I wouldn't want to play more. It's very odd.
yeah, I agree with you. Like, it's hard to like truly wrestle my feelings on it because like I feel like it's exactly what it should be. It's just not for me, and I don't know if it's for anyone, but it's what the creators of it wanted it to be, like exactly, maybe.
Yeah. And I think it's like a cool I'm kind of like with Tom of where it's like it doesn't feel appropriate to like shit on the game, but at the same time like it's almost nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's minimalist bordering on like I don't like a banana duct tape to a wall, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and like to kind of compare this to some of the other like lower budget indie games we've played, like I'm thinking specifically of Life Lessons. Like I did actually enjoy playing Life Lessons, you know,
Yeah.
and it is just even if it's not going for it, it's just an element that's missing from this game. Going back to Ben's questions, whether or not this should have been a video game, that I just kind of struggle with, like you guys are saying.
I think instead of should it have been a video game, I want it was a video game because I think it would be super cool if this was like a more like spread out idea and like really sat with time on it. But instead, it's literally just like an idea put into a media form.
I like the concept of just exploring weird ideas rather than just like, oh, this person made a third person shooter just a little more interesting by adding a fucking XP bar or some shit. Um, so this game is like right up my alley in terms of like the things that I want to do and the things I want to talk about. But at the same time, like it's just such a bizarre little thing because it's it's got everything that it should. It just doesn't really. God damn, it is so fucking hard for me to figure out how to feel about this game, dude.
It's hard. Like I don't feel good about like I'm still pretty settled about where my rating is, but I'm not gonna feel good about it when I say it.
Yeah. The problem is because it's such a good idea. It's like Forgotten City, but like boiled down. Like Forgotten City had like such a good hook, and this game has such a good hook, but like it does almost nothing with it. It's such a tiny bite-sized experience.
Yeah, but at the same time too, it's like it knows that, so that's why it's only like fucking 20 minutes long. So yeah, it's like it's this weird combination of like intentionality and like kind of sticking the landing on its idea and only really falling short in a couple of places. It's just like how do I how would I in good faith ever go up to someone and be like, "Oh, dude, you should play
Yeah.
this game," you know?
Yeah, you're definitely right about all that, but at the same time, like when I got the first two endings, I did those like sometime Tuesday or last week, and I only did the third ending today, where I had to get to the end of the game again, and I was not looking forward to that the entire week. Like, I was like, man, I really got to do that, but I do not want to.
Yeah.
Just in the sense of where you were saying, like it knows what it's going for and it keeps it short intentionally, but I feel like the multiple endings kind of goes in the face of that at the same time.
Yeah.
I definitely think the multiple endings is like a gigantic blunder. Like, very, very, very much so. Probably the only blunder the game made, outright.
Specifically, I think just having the you can permanently incapacitate the hero ending was the problem. If they kept the one where you just like sit still and let him beat the shit out of you, that's fine too. But it's just that one ending that I think kind of shoots itself in the foot a little bit.
Yeah.
And not having any way to like speed up dialogue or like, I don't know about you guys, but when I was going for that third ending and I had to get to the end of the game again, I was like trying to position myself to knock the body of the hero towards the throne so I didn't have to walk all the way left and
That's
then back
sick.
to the throne.
I like that. I actually
like that sounds like sick as fuck, like that.
Yeah, I like that. Like, to figure out how to optimize so you can fucking be done with it quicker is hilarious.
Conversely, though, it made the input reading even more annoying.
Oh, exactly. That's why I was like, I'm not doing that, because if I got to like 15 and then he somehow beat me, I would fucking be so mad.
Well, I think we can all agree that what this game absolutely needed was a 2-minute gear up phase where you equip your armor and your mace at the start of every run.
Yeah, it also could have done with a defense phase where I walk up to a bunch of useless walls and press E for 60 seconds.
That's a high guard ref for those who don't know.
No, gotcha.
Yeah, that game came out today and it sucks. It sucks real bad.
Yeah, quick bonus episode for the short amount of high guard that we played today. That game fucking sucked.
Well, it's good to know I didn't waste my time installing it.
Yeah, I'm glad it was free. I'll say that.
I kind of wish you waste your time installing it then, because I'm curious if you would have actually gotten to inside the game, because I feel like you would have not gotten there.
Oh, if I saw like the login queue, no, it would have been donezo right there.
You could have been like me and tried to queue for games, and it just kept spitting you back to the main menu every time it said match found.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna tolerate that. Like I tolerated it for like Path of Exile 2, but not for something like Harigard.
Exactly.
I find it hard to imagine you would have seen the pop-up saying you need to basically boot into your BIOS and change an option.
Yeah, If my BIOS wasn't already set, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
That game is so much worse than I remember now, just because I had to do that. Well, anyway. All right, you guys just want to make this a quick one and do ratings?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's fine with me. I was curious if we were going to make the episode longer than the game, and I think we did.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Why don't we just go bottom to top? We'll start with Ben.
All right, so when I think about what this game was trying to achieve, it's all positive, like pushing the boundaries of creativity. Like, I actually love the ideas that this game explores, but playing it was fucking misery. And there's a reason why I bought this game on sale like weeks ago, and I Steam refunded it. And when it was brought back in for Tash, I was like, God damn it. But oh well. In any case, despite that, it still looks really nice. Like there's a lot of craftsmanship that we already talked about, where like the pixel art is great. I like the font they use. I like that they use the pixel font with the pixel art. Not that that's necessary, but it's really hard to like mix a non-pixel font with pixel art that some games do, and some do it right, but most don't. So I appreciate that. There was like a lot of like intentionality with how the game played and how it looked that I do respect, but ultimately I can't say that I enjoyed this game. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
I knew I should have gone positive.
I don't have the
Pretty sure I nailed it.
Yeah, but the
Nice.
thing is, like, you guys call that positive. That's on your skills. Where my skill is like I grade these games like a professor, where like you start at 10, and you lose points for your fuck ups. So like, let's say like a game gets a 7 out of 10. Like, yeah, you technically passed, but like I'm also the Asian dad where it's like 7 out of 10, you're still getting your ass beat with chopsticks. Like that's just how it is.
With chopsticks.
Yeah, that dude's
Oh,
retaking the
Jesus.
class.
Yeah, like I don't feel too dissimilarly in that sense, but I feel like I don't know. I just didn't appreciate the craft as much. Maybe I'm just inundated with too much like pixel art. That those aspects are definitely good to it, like all of the artistic stuff, the music, the art, all of that's fine. But I never felt like the concept of what the game was going for made up for the lack of fun that I was having playing, even if it wasn't a game intending to be fun. I won't keep it too much longer than that because I don't know. I just didn't have super strong feelings on this game. It didn't quite land for me. So I'm going to give it a 3.5.
God damn it. Then we were all
damn,
low.
I
Wow,
way
you thought I was super
overshot.
low.
I mean, when it comes to sub 4 with you guys, it's been who's line anyway. I figure we were all going to be really low, and yeah, I feel like for you guys don't have like a reference range for a scale that low.
It's and also this game specifically is. Well, I mean, we talked about it before. It's just hard to rate a game like this. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, you almost have to like have a unique scale to rate this game, I think.
Yeah, it's the interactive media scale, not the video game scale.
No, yeah, it was like I enjoyed life lessons quite a bit more, and that I rated 5.5. And this game didn't offend me like something like Logic Bombs. They rated a 3. I felt like it was a 3 when I finished, but when I got the third ending, I grasped enough of like the narrative qualities that the game was going for that I bumped it up a little bit. But yeah,
I feel like the only person that, and this is not actually true. I think I overshot with my rating. The only person that I accurately assessed the rating for is Jordan, and I still think I overshot. Maybe.
I think you did. If you can say I think I overshot, then you overshot.
I think I'm happy with mine. I think I'm gonna get at least within a half point. Jordan, go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, unfortunately, I gave control a 1.5, and this game was so much more nothing than control that it needs to be a 1.
Fuck, I thought about doing that. I even put 2, man. I thought about doing 1.5. But I was like, there's no way.
Like,
How?
if I didn't just give control a 1.5, this game would have been a 1.5. But because it was so much less of an experience than control was. Like control, it was a lot, right? Like there was like ups and downs, but then it eventually fizzled to nothing. This game was nothing as a circle, so that's why it's like fuck.
All right, we need to stop playing bad games because if the amount of games that we've played that Jordan has rated higher than Fate Stay Night, I'm gonna lose my mind. If that's a higher proportion, I'm gonna lose my mind.
I don't think I know what a game is Jordan would rate highly anymore. I have no concept of what that would be.
I think Xenogears is a 9. There you go.
Even with that disc.
What was High Guard?
Did you say with this too? Because Ben, that's why it's a 9. Like disc 1 of Xenogears, I just played it. So disc 1 of Xenogears, towards the end, you're like, this is getting kind of boring. And then disc 2, it's like blows the stack
Here you
off
go.
the house. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Damn. It's
disc 2
that's
is
an opinion.
I feel like disc 2 is the whole reason to play Xenogears.
Yeah.
I like. All right, I don't want to like derail too much. I love the content of this too. I just hate that it's so obviously cut content.
Oh yeah. That like, hey, remember that whole world you had to explore? Fuck that, dude. Now we're just gonna teleport you everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, real quick before we go to Thomas, Jordan, what do you rate High Guard?
That's probably a 1. I think that's a complete failure. I think that's a complete failure of a game. Yeah.
Bad week for games.
Like there's no redeeming quality of that. Like this game has an aesthetic redeeming quality, but again, it's like a 20-minute experience. It's like too low to even be like an impact. Like I probably won't remember anything about this game in 2 years easily.
How about you, Thomas?
Yeah, again, like as discussed earlier, I like games that just explore ideas. Like I can throw the idea of something being fun out the window if I think it's trying to like say something other than like it wants to be fun. So like I thought the vibes of this game were right. The pixel art was good. The music was fine. The concept was good and is something that I'm glad that I played. But obviously, like as a game, this game really is like nothing. You basically just sit there and mash three buttons and then pick from two dialogue options that sort of seem to go in the same direction. So the game was repetitive, it was boring, it didn't control well, obviously, it wasn't trying to, but it's still a really cool art piece, and I think is something that would be very well suited for anyone starting a game club like this to play, because I think it's a really fucking good conversation starter. So I'm glad we played it, but it's not exactly like a good game. But again, I appreciate what it is. I appreciate that it exists, and I think I also will not remember much about this game in a year or two. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 5.5 out of 10.
Damn, that's way higher.
I knew it. I knew it was going to be on the cusp of negative. Fucking knew it. No one is brave enough to rate a 5. Have any of us ever rated a 5?
I feel like I must have.
I don't know.
5 is like
I can't
5 is a good
remember.
number for me.
I thought I remembered you saying you never rate something 5 because everything is like relative to it or something.
Everything's relative to one another, so the more time that goes on, the more numbers that get given out. I think like 4 is the weird spot for me now. Like 4, it's hard to get a 4 or a 4.5.
All right, I rated a game of 5. I'm using
Is it
the
Forgotten
guest.
City?
I'm using the guest table to check this. No, it was Logic Bombs.
Jesus
wow.
Christ.
That's actually kind of funny. Logic Bombs was a very similar score distribution as this game.
I gave
I mean,
Paradise Killer a 5.5.
I gave this game a 6 for the exact same reasons that I gave Logic Bombs a 6.
You
That's
tried?
fair. Yeah, like if this game didn't have like the pixel art and the music going forward, it probably would have been an easy 2.5 or a 2 for me. Well, that was Dark Queen of Mortholme. This was our intermezzo game for Synthetic, which we'll be talking about next week. What are our initial vibes for that game?
I'm not sure if I'll be able to beat it.
If it makes you feel
My-
better, I don't know if I'll be able to either.
The more you play it, the better it gets, but the initial playthroughs are brutal.
Yeah,
It's fucking hard.
I've only played a couple 2 or 3 runs, and mostly what I'm thinking when I'm playing that game is, God, I suck at twin stick shooters.
Are you only doing it on like Steam Deck and controller and stuff?
Yeah, might be easier on mouse keyboard, I guess.
For sure.
I think so.
It's got to be.
Like, everything is so precise.
I
feel like it has to
refuse.
be.
I refuse to try it on controller. It just seems like it's going to be a nightmare.
That was Dark Queen of Mortholme. See you next week.
Peace.